tablets are basically a commodity item at this point. I don't know what, they offer, but people still run out to do it. And
they redid the Furby, but I don't think you got the reception they wanted.
Yeah, I was fine with Teddy Ruxpin. I don't see what the problem was there. Put a cassette in its butt. It tells you a story. Seems perfect. I do kind of want those. We all say that advertising doesn't work on us, but the economy says different. Have you seen these Hallmark? Like it's like a stuffed dog that responds to certain words that are in this Hallmark book, and you're supposed to. The goal is to read it to your kids, and then when you say, and then Scrappy, the hero pup, says woof woof, the stuffed animal goes woof woof.
And you think I'm lame for wanting to go to Best Buy or to Bed Bath Beyond?
I want it for my dog. I want to freak my dog out with it. He's scared to death of my lightsaber, so I need to find some new. And, he's got a wide and varied collection of toys. Just because the more toys he has, the less likely my shoes are going to get chewed on. It's more of a risk reward thing as much as it is spoiling a small dog. But I want to get him one of these just so, to freak him out. Like, his toys bark back now. These are the things that entertain me. Don't judge.
Oh, I'm judging.
But other than that, I don't get the Black Friday thing. Who wants to go stand in line to get into a mall? Like, what can you get on Black Friday that you can't get 2 weeks after?
Well, in all fairness, I've never stood in a line. We waited until 5 minutes after when the line had surged into Jordan Creek.
Yeah, but see, you're never going to get the super special secret deals. Like now they give out tickets at least. Because it used to be a mad rush, and occasionally people would get stomped to death. They show the videos of Walmart.
Oh yeah, people die at Walmart every year.
They literally trample people to death for cheap electronics.
I got this TV from Hayer. Woo!
I'm trying to imagine the mindset. Someone is down in front of you, and I will step on your skull because DVDs are,
But what other day will
apiece.
somebody die for an Emerson TV?
Don't look at me, man. It is a foreign concept.
I've never understood the big ticket items waiting on sale because, first of all, usually you can find better sales throughout the year.
I was going to say, the best time to buy, if you want a TV, is the 2 weeks after the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, because everybody's stocked up.
They stock up to sell people. The Super Bowl is a huge mover of home entertainment systems and large TVs. And if you go a week or two after, that's when you're going to get the sale on that stuff. If you're buying it for yourself. And people do a lot of this holiday shopping for themselves. The gifts are kind of an afterthought.
Yeah, how many, because they're going to do iPads this year. They're going to do the iPad
But
too.
Apple doesn't do discounts. Now, a store
I think
can offer a free $50 gift card if you buy an iPad.
I think they're giving away something Best Buy, I think what I read.
But iPads aren't great holiday gifts because they refresh in the spring. They refresh in February and March when you're going to get, your next generation iPad.
Which
iPhone
they should quit doing.
Work that's just how Apple works, and it works for them because people are there.
Sure.
I will stand in line for 6 hours
to
buy my marginally better,
When you're ready to get your marginally better iPad, you let me know, and I'll buy yours off you for something.
You know what? That's how I've paid for iPads. You buy one, you sell the old one for $250, and you basically get the new one at half price.
I will give you $250 for yours when you go to sell your new one.
See? I've sold them to family members, and
nope.
I didn't sell my last one because Jen wants it.
Sure.
She never wanted an iPad, wasn't interested in it, and then she started using it. I don't know what Farkle is. It sounds dirty, but it's not.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
It's some sort of dice game. I don't understand.
Your girl's into throwing dice?
Yeah.
Should do good in the hood.
A little 3-card Monty or something. Doing some sort of spider solitaire. I don't know what these games are. They hold absolutely no interest to me.
I don't want to play video games on it.
But no, it's amazing. You don't think you would find a use for it until you start using it, and then you find all sorts of things you never thought it would be handy for. My is, you can flip it up like this, and just use in the kitchen. Have your recipes on there, or
I want to get one of those helicopter things that you can control from them.
oh
You
yeah,
seen those? Those things are awesome.
or the home entertainment system. You can run your whole house off of one of these puppies.
Yeah, Best Buy is selling
Now, if you're
the application things that you hook up to everything to do that now.
Yeah, technology is a beautiful thing, even if it leads to a really awkward episode of Modern Family.
Well, we've been doing the remote control house since the 90s, though. I mean, that's those.
A lot of it seems over. I want a remote control bidet.
Yeah, well, I don't.
Not for when I'm in there, but for when other people are. That to me seems like a good use.
You know, in America, you could just tell people it's a drinking fountain.
Oh man! All right, 1:45. Let's get into it because I do have a bunch of stuff to get to today. One, it was nice of the Des Moines Register to call out the DNR and the Branstad administration. One thing caught my eye over the weekend.
Did you hear he raised $600,000?
Oh yeah, doesn't surprise me.
It's the most any governor's ever raised, though, in a single event.
But yet, that's not the headline coming out of the governor's birthday party. We'll talk about that one in a second. On Friday, when everyone and their mother was talking about the death of Hostess and the stock line, the conventional wisdom was all unions killed him. I took a slightly different track. It was nice to see over the weekend. A little more attention paid to, tripling the CEO's pay and how the, vulture capitalists are trying to, even in bankruptcy, raid the company for their bonuses. Again, maybe it's just from personal experience having, seen what venture capitalism has done to my industry, what private equity has done to the radio world. Again, the signs are pretty obvious. So we'll talk about that. And nice to see the folks at, and not all Denny's franchise owners, not all Applebee's, it is the head of Papa John's, all freaking out. What was that?
I have no idea.
Someone taking a sledgehammer to our door? What the hell was that? To get back on what you were talking about, the governor's birthday party over the weekend, which is a large fundraiser. And look, I'm not happy about this. I wish it weren't so. But in all reality, again, not to a degree like we've seen, but the 2016 race is on. Front runners, wannabes alike are all going to be headed to Iowa. And again, that's normal. That's every day. We've seen that. We saw that 4 years ago. We saw it 8 years ago. It will always be. As long as we are first in the nation as a caucus, we are going to be, of prime importance, in the non-election years. Because let's be honest, we only have a year and a half until, the election as we remember it really kicks off, which should be sad. But it simply is. On kind of another side note, hopefully we on the left learned a lesson in 2010. We took our eye off the ball. We relaxed, and the Republicans didn't. And to a degree, that cost us a great deal in 2010. Not just the 2010 midterms, by the way, but how many state houses were taken over by Republicans who then controlled redistricting. And we're going to be paying for that slack for the next decade, as even, here in 2012, Democrats can win a million more votes overall in the House of Representatives than Republicans, and still, be down 40 seats. That's the effect of gerrymandering. Again, I'm not saying it's good, bad. It is. Until we have a federal system for redistricting, most states won't take the approach that we have, where it truly is a nonpartisan. It's hard to get more bland and more equal than the congressional districts here. Some of the creative drawing involved is truly a spectacle to behold, but it's just simply something that is. Republicans used the 2010 midterms to gain control of a lot of houses, and it's going to be another 8 years until we have a realistic shot at keeping and holding the House of Representatives again, even though we get a million more votes. Goes to show you the power involved, and I hope, again, we don't take our eye off the ball. Part of my interest in watching these very, very early days is to see how the Republicans, in this case, deal with the crushing loss that they still are sputtering and stammering for answers for. And from the various camps, the various parts of the right-wing coalition, you see different answers coming out of. Marco Rubio was in town Saturday for the governor's fundraiser, and he said a couple of interesting things. We'll get to unraveling the great mystery that really isn't. Talk about that and more when we come back. Email me, radiobradshaw@gmail.com. Don't send me Black Friday flyers. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Radio Bradshaw, or just go to thebradshawshow.com for almost of your Bradshaw needs. www.thebradshawshow.com. Link to just the audio feed, show archives. It's all there. We'll take care of you at thebradshawshow.com here on The Bradshaw Show on Webcast One Live. Thanks for watching. Back in just a couple minutes.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershot.
I'm administrative manager.
I am the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
If we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, it's got to be, it's your home.
It's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
If you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? You can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going, though. I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm going to take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
It's time to start.
Rock concert movement number 1.
Hello,
The
party
basic
people.
head bob. Ready, go.
Glad to have you here on a Monday afternoon on this abbreviated work week. Phone number is 244-0077. All are welcome. Some are capable. Email radiobradshaw@gmail.com and follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/radiobradshaw. And while certainly we're not going to spend the majority of the next 4 years talking about the 2016 election, it is interesting, again, as the right wing comes to grips, whether it's throwing Mitt Romney under the bus, which typically happens to losing candidates. At the end of the day, they, are the poster, old white man, in the case of the Republican Party, for the party. So when they lose, again, it was obviously their fault from the beginning, and we never should have nominated him, blah, blah, blah. And certainly Romney hasn't helped himself any in the last week, claiming that Obama won because he gave gifts, which I'm still waiting for my gift bag. Maybe it's in the mail with my Soros check. I don't know. And certainly Republicans have taken that opportunity to distance themselves from their candidate, because obviously he said something that is horribly stupid. But I thought that was Republican orthodoxy.
I did meet somebody that got a free jacket from Barack Obama.
How'd you get a free jacket?
I don't know, but they had a sweet jacket, and it was like, it was like
a bomber jacket,
no,
or like a satin.
It was like a winter coat, and it had Obama 2016 on it. I was like, wow, that's a really nice
2016?
Or 2012.
Okay, I was about to be very worried there.
Yeah, well,
spark the conspiracy theories now.
And I'm not Glenn Beck, but no, I saw that and thought, I'm sure it was a campaign volunteer or somebody that got something.
Probably, yeah. The swag is a different story.
But it was pretty sweet. So he might have been handing out gift bags.
That's fine.
Just missed it.
Romney didn't say anything that Rush Limbaugh hasn't spent the last 2 weeks going on and on and on and on about. But it's nice to see elected officials at least seeing that that's a losing message to a degree and running away from it. But now enter Marco Rubio. A cursory evaluation of the polls show that among, various groups, Republicans did poorly. Maybe chief among them are Latinos. And the fact that, when it's a 70-some-30 split, that hurts. That caused a lot of eyes on the right to turn to Florida Senator Marco Rubio. An interesting fellow. Was caught, making stuff up about his backstory, in this case saying that his family fled Cuba to avoid Castro, which in Florida is a big thing. Maybe not as much now as it has been historically, but they're the ex-Cuban community in Florida. They are there, and they are strong, and they are very serious about opposing Castro in any form. It's the reason you and I can't go down there and get cigars and the like. Just keeping up, sanctions and keeping up the travel ban is a way of,
It's not the THC in the cigars.
They have THC in their cigars.
I don't know. That's what I've been rumored. And so for the longest time, I've been trying to find an official Cuban. But I may have just lost my desire.
You should ask. I'm sure Tom Coates could find him for you.
That would involve talking to Tom Coates.
Yeah, I didn't say this plan didn't have downsides. I'm just saying he could probably find a way.
I actually like Tom, but I don't want to actually talk to him about cigars.
I used to until he threatened to sue me.
Well, I can see that.
These things happen. So Rubio, in an effort to kind of, garner some Florida cred, made up the story. Has some issues with, and the Florida GOP is dysfunctional, like the Iowa GOP, but in completely different ways, and most of them kind of criminal and underhanded. And if Rubio were to run for higher office, I'm sure all that stuff would come out. But for now, he's a rising star on the right, and gleefully took the opportunity to come to Des Moines and speak at the Branstad birthday fundraiser. Raised $600,000. Some interesting things he had to say. Said our workers are not making as much as they made the same jobs 25 years ago. My father was a bartender. My mother was a maid at a hotel. They were able to provide for us a standard of living. All right, that kind of play to the middle class. But then follows up, we need lower taxes and fewer government regulations on business, job training, and a stronger nuclear family. Okay, so what we see at work here is the cargo cult of the GOP at work. I've explained cargo cults before. This goes back to island hopping in World War II, and we would set up these impromptu bases on these small islands where the natives would see if you build a runway, right? If you build just a flat surface, and we build great towers, radio and radar and the like. Then the gods deliver these giant planes filled with cargo, and some of which, soldiers would give to the locals. Food, shirts or something, pair of shoes, some socks. And this, again, imagine you've been living in a secluded Pacific island for generations. This is all mind-blowing stuff. So looking at it, obviously, the solution is we need to build our own flat surfaces. We need to build our own towers. And they did this. They built radio towers out of bamboo and wood. They laid down gravel and tried to make something that approximated a runway, thinking that this is what it took, right, to have cargo delivered to your island. And to this day, there are cargo cults who still practice. The planes haven't come, but they still try. Maybe my favorite story is the cult of John Frum. I guess this started, what's your name? I'm John from Cincinnati. John Frum. And they still worship this man and hold ceremonies and believe that he will return bearing cargo. That's what a cargo cult is. They can mimic the actions, but they have no understanding, right, of any of the context or what's behind it. It kind of shows with the GOP. They understand that Obama, won by reaching out to the middle class. They get that. The context behind it is still missing. And these are the people who believe that if we just change our message, leave our policies the same, leave our politics the same, if we just change the message, everything will be okay. Because Barack Obama just won on a message. This is the Governor Branstad style of election understanding. And we saw some of that at work Saturday night. We've seen it in statements from the governor. But the thing that Rubio said that's making headlines is Marco Rubio, member of the Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation, was asked how old the Earth is. And I got to admit, this is a favorite of mine. Back in the olden days, when I have a religious guest on the radio that I didn't know, first thing I would ask them is, how old do you think the Earth is? And depending on how they answered that question, I would say with 90% certainty, I could then tell you exactly how they would answer every single question. Almost made the conversation move, but at least I knew what I was getting myself into. If someone, well, the Earth is 6,000 years old. Okay, so we know we're dealing with, a literalist fundamentalist here. If they said 4.5 billion, okay, now this is something I can work with. And at least, we're working with the same set of guidelines and bumpers here, even if we disagree on the specifics. It was fun to see Rubio try to hedge. I'm not a scientist, man. This is how he was. I can tell you what recorded history says. I wonder if he can. I can tell you what the Bible says, but I think that's a dispute amongst theologians. And I think it has nothing to do with the gross domestic product or economic growth of the United States. I see the age of the universe has zero to do with how our economy is going to grow. I'm not a scientist. I don't think I'm qualified to answer a question like that. At the end of the day, I think there are multiple theories out there on how the universe was created, and I think this is a country where people should have the opportunity to teach them all. I think parents should be able to teach their kids what their faith says, what science says. Whether the earth was created in 7 days or 7 actual eras, I'm not sure we'll ever be able to answer that. It's one of the great mysteries. It's actually not much of a mystery at all and hasn't been for a while. The Earth is about 4.5 billion years old, give or take 1% on either direction. Now, we found rocks located all over the world that are 3.5 billion years old, but thanks to tectonic plates and the like, the oldest stuff has already been recycled. So then we look at, the moon, other things that formed in the same system as the US or as the Earth, because we have a pretty good knowledge of how the planets and the solar systems came to be, the age of the universe and all of that. But and I appreciate he's trying to, spin it. Well, what does this have to do with the price of rice in China? A nice dodge, and he certainly didn't give an exact number. He says, I'm not a scientist. I don't think I'm qualified to answer a question like that. On one hand, I would agree with them, but here's the scarier part. This goes to show two things. One, how do you interpret and internalize information? And someone on the, Senate Committee on Science deals with the question is probably telling. And that certainly seems to be the angle most people are coming at this on the stories I'm seeing today. I think there is a more interesting one and a more Iowa-centric. And that is, here's a guy in this answer. If you read between the lines, what he's saying is, I would like to appeal to the Iowa Republican Party. And that's maybe even more telling. The great mystery isn't the age of the Earth. It's not a mystery at all. The great mystery is, does Marco Rubio truly believe this? Or does he have access to the same numbers I do that show 44% of Iowa Republicans are young Earth creationists, i.e., we believe the Earth is 6, 7, 10,000 years old. 44% of Iowa Republicans do, and over 2/3 believe in a literal, 6-day creation. And you wouldn't want to offend those people now. You'll need them on Caucus Day 2016 or 2015, depending on how the bounces go. Yeah, this is, ultimately the problem with the Iowa GOP is a microcosm of the GOP, Republicans, in general, conservative movement, is they are so handcuffed to these folks. They can't change. They can't evolve. They are, kicking and screaming to get back out of the 21st century, where it is uncomfortable for them. Why can't we go back to this, idealized version of Leave It to Beaver that never really existed but sounds really good in our heads. And this is the portrait of America that we'd really like to push. And I know Rubio is kind of the flavor of the day because, again, this is the cargo cult. Well, we need to do better with Hispanics. Let's run a Hispanic. Now, here's where math becomes a problem. Even if you just would spot, like, if you were to make the free space on the electoral bingo game for Mitt Romney, we just give you 20, we'll spot you 20 points with the Latino vote. 20 points. Yours, free with purchase. All right, if we just give them to him. Barack Obama still pulls away 303 electoral votes. Like 20 points among Latinos. And it's still not enough to make it even really a close race. And I'm sure Roger Ailes can run those numbers too as Republicans look to pick the next great right hope. But it is interesting to see, again, first try to swing away. What does it have to do with the economy? Not much directly, but indirectly a great deal. Are you going to stick to dogma? Tax cuts, deregulation. I mean, the true religion of the Republican Party in 2012. Or do you interpret new information? Marco Rubio very clearly says dogma reigns. Actually, the age of the earth has nothing to do with theologians. If you want to know whether you should eat shellfish or not, or siege Jericho, or own slaves, there's certainly some parts of the Bible that will tell you what to do there. When it comes to the age of the earth, no, we actually have ways of figuring this out, ways of working new information into the model. And what we're seeing here is, the root cause, I think, of the GOP's problems. Being so bereft of ideas. Everyone's talking about this crop of young Republican superstars. We saw them on display at the Republican National Convention, where pretty much any notable Republican of color was given a speaking slot. Republicans have a Young Guns program where the best and brightest 50-somethings are highlighted and celebrated. But at the end of the day, it's just a different packaging. While it certainly doesn't help when your candidate is caught on hidden tape, bashing 47% of the electorate, and that's a very good way of ending up with only 47% of the electorate, we're learning. Even if you put, a new hat on Malibu Stacy, you put a new container on the same failed ideas. How were you expecting a different result? Do you think that the same policies espoused by someone a little browner than the guy you put up last time is going to make a difference? You mortgaged your party to the Steve Kings and the Tom Tancredos and the Minutemen, and you can't just drop off your here's my coat check tag, I'm going to take my my party back. Doesn't work that way. You went all in. You gambled and lost. And now, and it doesn't matter, Marco Rubio is the rising star of the moment. It'll change. Although I did see over the weekend, even the Drudge Report was bashing Chris Christie. He showed up on Saturday Night Live. I wonder how long he's going to have to spend in the Republican doghouse for committing the unpardonable sin of being nice to Barack Obama. You know, not trashing the president at every opportunity, otherwise known as Republican blasphemy. But again, something to keep an eye on as we move forward. And again, don't look. I understand. I'm tired of it too. I guarantee you, I spent more time digging into the 2012 election. I saw the campaign commercials, the nonstop news stories, the flamingly unimportant issues that became the major news story of the day. Trust me, I get election fatigue. I understand completely. But if you're someone who really wants to, move the country forward, I mean, we can't take our eyes off the ball. We don't just spike the football and run off the field. Game never stops nowadays. And I'm not expecting you to do cartwheels with that news. But it is reality. And ask the Republicans what happens when you deny reality. All right, 244-0077. Email radiobradshaw@gmail.com and follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Radio Bradshaw. When we come back, again, not something I've said often, but kudos to the Des Moines Register. And might we be seeing the birth of a new wedge issue? Is this in its larval form? For it burst forth from the stomach of democracy, alien style? Or Spaceballs, depending on your particular preference in movies. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. We'll be back right after this on Webcast One Live. Thanks for watching.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
The dawn of a new era begins.
Well, hi, I'm Rob Spearman. I'm a broker-owner of RE/MAX Real Estate Concepts in Des Moines, Iowa. Give us a call if you're looking at buying or selling a home, or if you're having trouble on your mortgage payments or looking to purchase foreclosures. We have the agents to help you, experienced, outstanding agents. Our office number is 515-276-2872. Or if you'd like to look at homes, go to our website, homeconnectusa.com.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Yo, there we go. 219 Bradshaw with you here on a Monday afternoon. Glad to have you along here. Go to thebradshawshow.com for all of your need show archives, or if you just want the audio feed, if you want to like listen on your phone, slap it into the Bluetooth on the car stereo and take me for a drive. I'm okay with that. It's all at thebradshawshow.com. The email address, radiobradshaw@gmail.com, and on Twitter, twitter.com/radiobradshaw. Again, I'm always interested in what people have to say. So I am an absolute feedback junkie in the worst way. Good, bad, indifferent. Although I got a few of these over the weekend. By far, the favorite emails are, I'm having an argument with, fill in the blank, about fill in the blank. Can you help? Ancient Chinese secret, as they used to say. It is one of my great joys in life to provide ammunition for those with Fox News watching, aunts and uncles, or have that brother who is a real Ayn Rand devotee. Because we've all been there, right? Sit around the table and someone brings up the latest, forwarded email they got, or maybe you've got a parent who forwards you those emails, or not that I'm speaking from personal experience here, is literally canning and saving food for the end times that are coming. I hope I was adopted. I'm just saying we all have had those experiences. And I try to help provide ammunition, provide backup, share some of my sources with you. Those are my absolute favoritist. Real quick before we move on, last segment talking about the Republican Party, or just individuals in general, interpret new information. And yeah, part of it has to do with the Republican bubble. We live in a reality of our own creation where things that we don't agree with never have to enter the fray. Again, which only sets you up for really painful times when reality can't be denied. Like when your Stop Obama Express derails and catches fire. As a member of the reality-based community, you are all welcome to join us. I just don't know how many will actually take up the invitation. Just something real quick that I saw over the weekend. And this comes from NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Summarizing October 2012, average temperature 14.63 degrees Celsius, a little more than half a degree above the 20th century average, and ties with 2008 as the fifth warmest October on record. Then they add with this little footnote. This is the 332nd consecutive month with an above-average temperature. Means if you live in North America, basically, and other than a few places over the ocean or a few isolated islands, the majority of the human population, if you are 27 years old or younger, you have never experienced a colder than average month. The last one was 1985. Ponder that for a minute. Like, we haven't had a cooler than average month since max headroom was a new thing. Now, again, we can deny that reality, a strategy that for eons has worked well with ostriches, or we can deal with it. The choice is ours. Or as one favorite environmentalist of mine said, the power is yours. Now back to something a little more local. Might we be seeing the beginning of a new wedge issue? Coming off the some historic firsts, and same-sex marriage being okay by voters in a couple states for the first time ever, I think shows the death of that particular wedge issue. Again, good news, I think, for all Americans. Bad news for the financial prospects of Bob Vanderplaats, which is probably good news for all Americans. Another, at least in Colorado and Washington, the first states, well, there are other states that have gone through process, but we have 2 states here who voted to decriminalize weed. Now, again, I got enough weird stuff in my head. I don't say this from an advocacy point. I'm relatively indifferent if someone wants to get high. But certainly going back, again, to reefer madness all the way through just say no or I didn't inhale. It's just been an assumed, again, I went through one of the first DARE programs in the state of Iowa. Back in the late 80s, drug abuse resistance education, or drugs are really exciting, depending on which way you wanted to look at the acronym. One of the lessons, at least that I got in DARE, is that here is this bubble, and we're just going to call it drugs. And they're all bad, and they're all horrible, and they all do terrible things to you. And next thing you know, you're going to be doing horrible things to strangers under overpasses for money and stealing and lying. And the problem, they put, marijuana, and heroin, glue huffing. I don't know if that was a thing back then. All kind of in the same group and the same sort of dastardly evil. But once you move past, 6th grade, you start to realize that maybe that message was BS. And you look at how at one time, a simple bottle of Budweiser was in that same bubble during Prohibition. Or how you used to be able to get, cocaine as a patent medicine. That kind of all or nothing, black or white, binary logic falls by the wayside. So now with voters in 2 states voting to decriminalize, not the medical marijuana kind of half step, but full on recreational use. Everybody must get stoned. Representative Bruce Hunter of Des Moines and Senator Joe Bolcom, both are now in the Iowa House looking to find co-sponsors and move forward with decriminalization bills here in the state of Iowa, which of course will go nowhere because Governor Branstad, a relic from the 80s, certainly lives in the era of just say no and has said multiple times that anything involving marijuana will be vetoed with extreme prejudice and probably won't be rolled up and smoked in his office. And might we be seeing the birth of a new wedge issue here? 18 members of Congress have sent a letter to the Department of Justice and the DEA, this from D.C., asking them not to take enforcement action against states that are, obeying the will of their people. So the voters chose to eliminate the illegal marijuana market controlled by cartels and criminals and recognize the disproportionate impact that marijuana has on minorities. These states have chosen to move from a drug policy that spends millions of dollars turning ordinary Americans into criminals towards one that will tightly regulate the use of marijuana while raising tax revenue to support cash-strapped state and local governments. The number one moneymaker by far for those Nice drug cartels you hear about a little south of the border that are turning cities into war zones and wastelands. Number one moneymaker by far is marijuana. Again, we make enough of our own meth. We have plenty of bathtubs in Pleasant Hills to take care of the domestic need, but for everything else, we outsource. Their number one moneymaker by far is marijuana. If we were to deny them that by removing the criminal element, and imagine the difference it would make on the criminal cartels. And yeah, how many? Has anyone calculated the millions we spend per year putting some guy growing, a handful of plants in his basement in prison? Let alone busting, small-time dealers or people. Oh, you were driving, you had weed in your car. I mean, yeah, we'd probably lose a third of the content of the show Cops. But is that the best use of our time? But maybe this is a thing where, Democrats can be the, hey, you know what, we don't care party, and let the Governor Brandstads stand, on the side of the 20th century. And, continue the war on drugs that was won by drugs decades ago. And again, I don't have a dog in this fight, or I don't have a roach clip in this fight. I'm not a stoner, never have been. But it seems like, it would be, again, that odd combination of good policy and good politics that is oh so rare these days. All right, I got to bounce, as the kids say. Email, radiobradshaw@gmail.com. On the Twitter machine, twitter.com/Radio Bradshaw. Stop by, say hello. Always curious what people have to say. Or just go to thebradshawshow.com. It's got links to everything you need right there at thebradshawshow.com. We'll reconvene tomorrow. And then coin flip for Wednesday. Maybe I'll just spend Wednesday going through the Black Friday holiday spectaculars. Hey, Dan, we can talk about the best deals.
You could get in line.
Where to get your... There will be people in line Wednesday afternoon.
That would be scary.
Which, yeah, again, it's just one of those few things that maybe makes me think the terrorists are right. If you're going to stand in line for like 12 hours to get like a $29 Furby, maybe America's best days are behind us. Maybe it is time for death to America. Philosophical questions for another time. Anyway, we'll reconvene tomorrow at 1:30 here on Webcast One Live. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.